It all started with these photos that you are about to see. Photographing Potsdamer Platz in Berlin was high on my photography bucket list. So, when I turned 40 this year, I thought that this would be the perfect gift for myself. I set very specific conditions. Potsdamer Platz, at night, with a Nikon FM2 35mm lens and a CineStill 800T film roll. I then had the roll developed 2 days later at FOTOIMPEX in Berlin and received them on my last night in the city. The results inspired me so much that I literally jumped out of my chair that night and went out to photograph the rest of the 10 most beautiful U-Bahn stations in Berlin. And that is what this video is all about. Hey guys, what's happening? I'm here now in Berlin and I'm about to do an impromptu POV or walkabout video. So I have my Nikon FM2 35mm lens and CineStill 800T film. Let's do it. It's 8 o'clock, so let's see what time I get home. Now, how did I select these 10 stations? Well, I based them loosely on this article on exberliner.com. I've put the link in the description below. I then plotted the best route to hit all of them in the most time-efficient manner possible. I did remove some due to time constraints. Second station after Potsdamer Platz is Stadmitte. This actually isn't on the list, but it's the station of my Airbnb. If anything, I am very lucky to have an Airbnb that is so centrally located. Stadmitte literally means downtown or city center, and you can see that on this map. This station was built in 1908 and was heavily damaged during the Battle of Berlin in 1945. Because I loved my Airbnb neighborhood so much, I wanted to show some love to my home station. The CineStill 800T film has this characteristic red halation around lights. This is what makes this film stock so appealing. One stop away on the U2 line is Mohrenstraße. This station became famous because of a now debunked rumor that the red marble that you see here came from the New Reich Chancellery or Hitler's office. Nevertheless, the marble has a powerful effect on the atmosphere of the station. Going back on the U2 line 2 stops past Stadmitte is the Markisches Museum station. What makes this platform unique is its lack of columns to support the ceiling and is more reminiscent of Paris metro stations. I particularly found the iconic overhead pill-shaped lights to be visually interesting, and naturally, I focused on them. Further east on the U6 line is the famous Alexanderplatz. Again, this isn't on ex-Berliner's list, but I just find the architecture, especially the green tiles, very fascinating. I've also photographed Alexanderplatz topside, and I wanted to pair it with platform photos. Going west on the U5 line from Alexanderplatz is the Museum Insel station, which brings you to Museum Island where, as the name implies, Berlin's incredible museums are located. This is also the newest station on the list, having only opened last year in 2021. The highlight or highlights of the station are the 6,600 points of light on the blue ceiling. I also couldn't help photographing the inner hall, which jumps out like a corridor out of Star Wars. Next stop, Wittenbergplatz. Its neoclassical design is a stark contrast from Museum Insel. Looking at its cruciform hall, I realized that this would have been better to photograph during the day, but I had to make do with what I could get. Nevertheless, you can see the beauty of the station's turn-of-the-century design jumping off the walls if you just let your imagination take you further. Riding the U3 line further on brings us to the southwesternmost station on our list, Heidelbergerplatz. Now this station is just grand. I just wish I had a wider lens so that I can take in more of the intricate classical architecture that this station is known for. The vaulted ceilings hint at just how imposing this platform is, and how its architecture is closer to that of a cathedral than a U-Bahn station. The last two stations on our list are the furthest away from the Berlin city center. In hindsight, I should have started with these first and worked my way inward. It was at this time that my GoPro ran out of battery. I now had to resort to using my phone to document the rest of the video. Now, what makes Rohrdam station so pretty are the mosaics designed by Rainer Gerhard Rümmler. The art you see here were inspired by the machines in the Siemens factories in this part of the city. Our final stop is Paulsternstraße, just a station away from Rohrdam. Now at this point, I had one shot remaining on my 36-shot CineStill roll, so here it is. Yes, this platform was also designed by Rümmler. It echoes carriage rides from Berlin to Spandau 200 years ago, where passengers would enjoy seeing trees, meadows, and flowers during their ride. Now while our tour is done, I still had to make the long journey back home to Stadmitte. This would be the longest I've ever been on a subway, having to switch 3 lines and go past a total of 23 stops. At a little under an hour, the trip was mind-numbing to be honest, and coupled with a really long day, I was mentally and physically exhausted at the end. But still, I was happy to have done it and glad to be home. So it's 11:23 and I'm finally back on my streets with my Airbnb. It's been quite a trip. I ended it with a bang with this whole U-Bahn tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see the photos, and of course you can see all of them on my Instagram. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'm tired. I'm turning it. Cheers.